Hello and welcome back to another quick Star Citizen update when it comes to 3.23. And I do say quick because I just wanted to hit a few points that I've been testing today. Starting off with the Freelancer. It's gotten quite the change to it. Now, some of it's, master modes. Otherwise, they've finally done a complete components pass on it. So now it's got its complete components on the interior. The interior hull has lost an inch or two on the interior width. From what I could tell, it's not going to cause any issues with the vehicles that they could already fit. But otherwise, it looks beautiful. The lighting got somewhat of an update as well on the interior of the Freelancer. And as of right now, the Freelancer, the base one, has 3 shield generators. I haven't checked the other ones yet. It's, again, got its components pass, and then the M5A cannons on the side are now down to 8 shots per gun. So 8 shots on each gun for their capacitor. Now, obviously, that's, it's a laser cannon, so they can recharge. But yeah, it's a little bit of a change there. Outside of that, there isn't too much else to the Freelancer. It looks beautiful. The interior looks lovely. It's great to see all the components available now and accessible. So that looks great. Now, moving on from the Freelancer, I kind of wanted to hit on something that, my other video discussed, and that was the Ion and the Inferno. Now, there's been a lot of concern with it, and I agree, it is concerning, but the ships are what they, kind of are supposed to be. They're supposed to go after capital size or much larger ships. It doesn't have to be technically a capital. So yeah, they got a nerf on the ammo count for both the Ion and the Inferno. Now, it's suggested that the damage output, the alpha damage went up. Now, it only went up like 300 or 400 overall damage on the alpha, which, like on the Ion, isn't going to do too much. And then the rate of fire was completely just destroyed on the Ion. Now, projectile speed did go up, but it really doesn't change much. You can't get up close and personal with an Ion now with anything other than a large ship, or you're going to be in for some trouble. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer, but that's where the Ares are right now. And, it could always potentially change, just like anything in Star Citizen. So always keep that in mind. It could always change. Outside of that, there was a few questions. I haven't been able to check out quantum snares or dampening yet, so I will definitely take a look at that when I can. That is a good question, but one I can't answer yet. Now, I will let you know when it comes to master modes and the way that navigation and gun mode works, basically. I call it like gun mode, I think, anytime, like, you take off, you turn on your engines, you take off, right? You are in SCM gun mode. So you are limited to your SCM max speed, and then you obviously have your boost capability as well to give you a little bit of a boost for a moment that brings you up to like 500, give or take. Now, going into nav mode's not instant. You press the button, B, to spool up the quantum drive, and it takes 15, 20 seconds. And during that time, your shields go down to nothing, and then it gives you full access after the quantum drive's fully spooled to your potential top speed of that ship. So keep that in mind. If you feel like you're going to have to run from something, you need to make that decision sooner rather than later, because not only are you going to have that spool time, but you're going to have to wait until that quantum drive is fully prepped to get your full potential speed. And then once you jump out of quantum, to your destination, again, do not hit B and turn off your quantum drive if you want to keep your ship at a high rate of speed, right? But it won't initially come out of that in a high rate of speed. What is going to happen is it's going to have to wait for your quantum drive to spool again to get that high rate of speed. It doesn't seem like there's a cooldown per se anymore. It's just you got to wait for that drive to spool. So 15, 20 seconds until you get your max speed potentially available to you again. So remember that, because if you're quantuming from someone chasing you down, they're going to have a window to attack you while your drive is charging that you don't have shields and you're stuck at SCM speed. So keep your power triangle to your engines and, try to get that boost back as quick as you can. And that's kind of where it's at right now. So it kind of levels out the playing field for the type of person that always runs from a hunter, and the hunter that can never catch the person running. And that is something that is an issue in 3.22, is when you're chasing somebody, they can just jump without, and they can do it because they're so fast getting out of that jump that it really kills the chance for anybody to catch you. And it's kind of like, well, I don't want to own a $150 ship to snare them. Why, now it kind of gives you a 15-second window to potentially stop them from, getting their jump engines online. Now that doesn't stop you completely, right? Unless they hit you really hard, they ain't going to destroy your ship right away, right? So just maneuver, let that jump drive charge 15 seconds, and then you can just go, jump, boom, gone. Outside of that, salvage cleanup missions still under personal. Right now, if I were to open up my mobiGlas and go to contracts, it's a lot different. At the top of the page, you got offers, accepted, history, beacons, and then on the left, you got your missions, right? Now, under that, you have what's called verified and unverified. You'd have to click that, and it goes over to unverified. I believe unverified is kind of what personal missions are in 3.2.2. So if you go there, you do have maintenance, delivery, mercenary, and salvage still. So I think there is, yes. It looks like that. So next question was, did they improve the elevators, or are they still glitchy as usual? I asked because with personal hangars, elevators seem to have a major role in the game than before. I think elevators are always going to be a trouble spot in Star Citizen. I don't think it matters what comes out and what doesn't for a little while, right? Until they really hammer down on it, because they want to have it physicalized. It's not a loading screen. So you got to figure out a way to do that and do it right and have access to everything that you do. So like I had an experience earlier where I got in an elevator and I started going, and then a second later, I was oddly enough just outside of the elevator. I was only about 100 feet outside of the station, and I was just kind of floating in space. So I was like, huh? But it's only happened once. And I've been on an elevator now, 500 times. Only other elevator issue I ran into was at Port Tressler, calling an elevator and it never showing up, and having to backspace and spawn in the medical room just to get out of, the stuck hab area. So I think it's hit and miss, obviously. This is a really big update, guys. You have to understand that all these features they're adding, and there's so many. I promise you, you're going to walk into this game and you are going to feel lost. It's going to be so alien. Everything has changed. And so you got to really account for that. Like, it's not going to be perfect when you get to play this for the first time. And that's going to be something you're going to experience, is that not everything's perfect. I ran into, first time ever, fauna in Star Citizen. I ran into the Copian, I think it's called. I love their name, by the way, Copium. Well, I ran into a massive pack of them on Microtech, and I was probably 100 feet away, and I was standing there. I'm like, oh gosh, they didn't even really see me, or they didn't care about me. I shot around into the air, and then they all just like death stared me, and you can hear them too, like getting all mangly and rude and mean. And yeah, those things can they're gonna be something else. Those are they look a lot better. Like, their textures are really great. They look phenomenal. That video that CIG posted on Twitter does not do them justice. They look phenomenal. They're on par with other textures in the game, for sure. Other great textures in the game. So nothing to worry about there. And they sound fantastic. They're scary as all. And there's nothing. It's interesting because it's. I can imagine walking around out there at dark time and hearing that behind you. Oh, it's going to be something. Otherwise, that's the small update I have right now. I'm, getting more and more and more as we go. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll try my best to continue pumping out videos today, intermittently, with these questions being answered as best I can. From what I understand, they're really trying to push this to a PTU Wave 1 here soon. So, subscribe to Star Citizen and you're going to have access to this sooner than you think. That's the feeling that we're getting, and it feels great. The newest update today feels great so far. So I say, get ready for that. It's going to be awesome. You guys are in for a hell of a ride. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.